I found my husband's goodbye letter 3 years after he died. But the handwriting, it wasn't his. My name is Maya Chin, and for 3 years, I wore black every anniversary. 3 years of visiting an empty grave. 3 years of hating myself for the fight we had the night before the accident. But I'm getting ahead of myself. James and I met in college, one of those insufferably perfect love stories that made our friends roll their eyes. He was pre-med, I was studying architecture, and we collided literally in the campus library when he rounded a corner with a stack of anatomy textbooks. We laughed about that collision at our wedding 7 years later. Everyone said we were soulmates. His mother cried when she told me I was the daughter she'd always wanted. My father, who never liked anyone I dated, shook James's hand at our engagement dinner and said, "You're good people, son." We bought a small house in Portland with a backyard just big enough for the garden James always wanted. He'd come home from his residency exhausted, dirt under his nails from planting tomatoes, smelling like antiseptic and earth. I'd show him my latest building designs, and he'd trace the lines with his surgeon's fingers, telling me they were beautiful even when I knew they weren't quite right. 10 years of marriage. 10 years of inside jokes, of his terrible singing in the shower, of the way he'd kiss my forehead every single morning before leaving for the hospital. And then the fight. It was stupid, the kind of argument that feels catastrophic at midnight but foolish in daylight. He'd been working 70-hour weeks. I'd been stressed about a pitch to a major client. I accused him of not being present. He said I was being unfair. Voices were raised. Doors were slammed. He left for his shift at 5 a.m. without waking me. Without our morning kiss. The police came to my office at 2:47 p.m. Black ice on the highway. His car had flipped 3 times. He died on impact quickly, they said, as if that made it better. I don't remember much about the funeral. Just the weight of hands on my shoulders and the suffocating smell of lilies. His best friend Marcus gave the eulogy. James's little sister Emma couldn't stop sobbing. I stood there dry-eyed, frozen, stuck in that last fight, replaying every word I wished I could take back. The grief was an animal living in my chest. Some days it slept. Most days it clawed. I kept everything exactly as he'd left it. His coffee mug in the cabinet. His side of the closet untouched. The half-finished mystery novel on his nightstand, bookmark still at page 237. His younger sister Emma would visit every few weeks, worried about me. "Maya, you need to start living again," she'd say gently. But how could I? I'd killed my husband with my last words to him. That's what I believed. That somehow my anger had caused the ice, the flip, the impact. 3 years passed like this. Last month, I finally decided to redecorate his study. Not erase him, never that, but maybe make it a space I could use without feeling like an intruder in my own home. As I removed books from the built-in shelves, my hand hit something taped to the back panel. An envelope. Cream-colored, expensive paper. My name in familiar handwriting. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside, a letter dated the morning he died. "My dearest Maya, if you're reading this, I'm gone. I need you to know that our fight last night changed everything for me. It made me realize I can't keep living this lie. I'm leaving. Not because I don't love you, but because I love someone else. I have for 2 years. I never meant for it to happen, but it did, and I'm not strong enough to walk away from what we have. By the time you find this, I'll be starting a new life. I'm so sorry for the cowardice of this letter, but I couldn't face you. I couldn't watch your heart break in real time. The fight last night made me see that you deserve someone who shows up, who's present, who isn't thinking of someone else when he kisses you goodnight. You deserve better than what I've become. Please don't look for me. I'm asking you for this one last kindness. Let me go. I'm sorry I wasn't the man you thought I was. James." I read it 7 times. My brain couldn't process what my eyes were seeing. He was leaving me. He was leaving me. The accident hadn't stolen him. He was already gone. But then I looked closer at the handwriting, the slant of the letters, the way the Y curved. I'd lived with James's handwriting for 15 years, grocery lists, birthday cards, prescription notes left on the counter. This was close, eerily close. But the O was wrong. James always wrote them open at the top, a habit from his medical training. These were closed. I pulled out old cards, old notes, compared them. My architect's eye for detail caught a dozen small differences. This wasn't James's handwriting. My mind raced. Who would do this? Who would fake a letter from my dead husband? I thought about that day. The police said he was heading to the hospital, his usual route. Not away from the city, not toward a new life. I started investigating. His phone records, I'd never looked before, too painful. His email, his bank accounts. Nothing. No evidence of an affair. No suspicious transactions. No secret apartment rented. No mysterious deposits or withdrawals. He really had been going to work that morning. Just like always. Someone had written this letter and hidden it, knowing I'd eventually find it. Someone wanted me to believe he'd betrayed me, even in death. But who? And why? I made a list of people who had access to our house. People who knew where James worked, his schedule, our fight that night. Emma, his sister, had a key. She'd been so supportive, visiting every week. Marcus, his best friend, also had a key from the times he'd house sat. Both had been at the funeral. Both had mourned with me. Both had held my hand through the worst days of my life. I remembered something Emma had said once, wine drunk on a hard anniversary. You were so perfect together. It almost wasn't fair. At the time, I thought she meant we were lucky. But the word choice nagged at me now. Wasn't fair. Emma, who'd always been close to James. Emma, who studied calligraphy in high school. Emma, who'd been single her whole life, who'd light up whenever James entered a room. But then there was Marcus. Marcus, who'd been James's friend since childhood. Marcus, who'd introduced us, but who'd seemed strangely quiet at our wedding. Marcus, whose own marriage had fallen apart a year before James's death. I confronted Emma first. She denied everything, looked horrified, accused me of losing my mind to grief. Maybe I was. I confronted Marcus next. He stared at the letter for a long time, and then he started to cry. I wrote it, he said. After James died, I couldn't stand watching you torture yourself over that fight. I thought, God, Maya, I thought if you believed he was leaving anyway, you'd stop blaming yourself. That you could be angry at him instead of destroyed by guilt. I was trying to help you. I looked at this man I'd known for over a decade. You wanted me to believe my husband betrayed me? That our entire marriage was a lie? You thought that would help. I watched you dying, Marcus said, his voice breaking. Every day, a little more. The guilt was eating you alive. I thought if you had a reason to be angry instead of guilty, you might actually heal. I was going to tell you the truth eventually, once you'd moved on. I swear I was. I stood there in my living room, this letter, this forgery in my hands, and I didn't know what I felt. Was this a violation of the worst kind? Yes. Had Marcus destroyed the last 3 years of my grieving, made me mourn a lie? Absolutely. But had he been right? Would I have been able to let go of the guilt without this? For 3 years, I'd been trapped in that last fight, imprisoned by words I could never take back. Now, I was angry, furious. But I wasn't drowning anymore. Get out, I told Marcus. He left without another word. I burned the letter that night, watched James's fake goodbye turn to ash in our fireplace. And for the first time in 3 years, I cried, really cried, not from guilt, but from grief. Pure grief for the man I'd loved and lost, without the poison of blame. I still don't know if I can forgive Marcus. But I also don't know if I would have survived without what he did. So here's my question for you. Was Marcus wrong? Did he commit an unforgivable betrayal? Or did he save me the only way he knew how? Can love justify a lie this big? Let me know what you think in the comments.